Good morning, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm Karolis Stankevičius, a student at SMK University of Applied Sciences in Lithuania. Welcome to the third International Student Scientific Practical Conference, Future Creators. The conference is organized by SMK University of Applied Sciences in partnership with Kazimieras Simonavičius University. We are delighted to see such a large number of participants, including renowned experts, researchers, and motivators from the fields of science, business, and technology. Surprisingly, we will be hosting students across 9 panel sections on Zoom, covering diverse topics ranging from education to aviation management. We wish you all an inspiring and enriching time as you share your knowledge and discoveries. The aim of this conference is to present and to discuss possible ideas for future products, processes relevant to any area of public life. Now we will invite to watch an opening ceremony and plenary session. To provide a welcome message, I have the pleasure of inviting Viktorija Polubinskienė, the director of SMK University of Applied Sciences in Lithuania.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, dear participants, our guests, SMK community. Today, it is a great and important day in SMK because today we dedicate this day for the science, research, for the young researchers, and also I think that we dedicate this day for the effort and achievement. As Karolis mentioned, we have the big amount of participants. It's more than 120 maybe, and a huge amount of important different topics. And I'm really proud that these different topics in some different areas are really important, not only in our SMK, not only for young people, but it is really global context. And I really appreciate that these young researchers create new knowledges in really important global topics. Also, I would like to give special thanks for organization committee of this conference for bringing all us together. I know how big work is to manage all this event with so big number of participants. Thank you very much for everything. And I would like to wish for all participants to have a great day, first of all, and after that, to create new relationship, new connections, new innovations, to build the competence more and more every day. And today, to show everything what you can in the best way. Good luck for everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, Viktorija Polubinskienė, for your warm wishes and words of welcome. Let's move on to the plenary session. I would like to mention for all of you, the presenters and the presentation should not exceed 15 minutes. Our first presentation will be delivered by Dr. Wessam Al-Chibani, Associate Professor at Notre Dame University, Louisa, Lebanon. The presentation is titled Education, a New Form for a New Century. Professor.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here today to talk about the role and importance of education for the new era, for the new future. As we know that in the past, people counted on their strong bodies to perform the tasks and do the job. Life requested that ability, which is the physical ability. And after that, the industrialization system requested the people to be working in the industries and factories. So soon later, they discovered that education is a very important task, is very important to be added to reform and reshape our our careers, our future, our role in the communities and societies. So they channeled people towards education. They built schools, they created a new education system, and the first printing press was in the 15th century. So the books were the only source of information, that the formal information for learners and education in general. So after that, the whole concept of life has changed, and new careers appeared, technology got emerged and imposed itself on all our life. Internet allowed us to access information later on online, so the books weren't anymore the only source of education, so internet took its part in our life. So education became an important tool, since tasks required no more physical abilities, but mental ones instead. Very soon after, electronic resources and sources and search engines revolutionized how to learn and teach. So it started to happen and to develop faster than education can offer to us as humans. And that was our first challenge, which was choosing the true and right information and also reliable sources, because through internet anybody can post any type of information, and that was the challenge, is to choose the right and reliable source of information, especially for research and academic purposes. Students as well started having access to other sources of information rather than the teachers or their parents. So the parents and the teachers were the only source of information in the classroom. Whatever they say, that's the right thing. They had the credibility and they were the only reliable sources. After that, when students have their mobiles and the internet and access to the search engine and to all the information online, the teachers here became instructors, since they started instructing students and facilitating classroom materials and activities, and they turned into motivators and guide to learners to explore and create. So the learners here switched from passive learners into active learners that took part in the learning and teaching process. In other words, modern machine learning is certainly smart, but it can't learn everything. Okay? We program the learning machines. We program these machines. We ask these machines what to do for us. Okay, so we were under control. We as educators, therefore, need to ensure that our human learners develop a rich repertoire of intelligent behaviors and advanced thinking. Till that point, we are still safe. Now, during COVID-19, which is the turning point in our life nowadays, and it happened recently and we witnessed it, we realized the gap between technology and our education system. All computers, blackboard, online grading system, internet was almost ready. But what wasn't ready was us, humans. Students took advantage of the weak internet connections, absence of cameras, microphones, the matter that made education within these 2-3 years ineffective to them. Now technology is not anymore just an additional tool helping us in teaching and learning. However, it became the king player in determining what to teach and to learn. Education is not anymore among four walls. It's beyond that. Although technology has made education available to everyone all over, it put education in front of a huge challenge. To be quite honest, during COVID, students behind their screen felt more comfortable cheating and helping each other, using these WhatsApp applications and all of other applications to consult each other and offer, everyone could have access to the exams. So we had to change the method of teaching dramatically. Okay, we replaced the tests with the research papers. We switched into research. We switched into term papers. The matter that requested, reliable sources, and the matter that, put heavy responsibility on students to get reliable sources and authentic ones as well, because in research we cannot just use any type of information. We have rules to be abided to. So that put also that responsibility upon our students' shoulders. But were they aware of that? Did they know that? That's the question. We noticed also that students' grades increased. Cheating may also increase due to artificial intelligence. Academic integrity is also a valid concern for colleges and universities. So here we are taking that into consideration. So time is the essence to revamp the definition of a cheating or academic dishonesty with the new forms of tools being made available. Academic institutions, universities, should take the emergence of artificial intelligence as a call to action, to meet with faculty and the staff to develop policies, procedures around ethical and acceptable use of emerging tools. Nowadays, artificial intelligence is flashing, and this leads to limiting our mental capabilities. Machine is taking over, computers taking over, programs, robots taking over. It's very important now to be aware of this fact that universities are preparing students for certain jobs. However, these jobs are not anymore for humans. The robots taken over. So we need now to work harder on ourselves to keep our feet solid on the ground. And we later become robots serving the machines instead of robots serving us. In other words, we have two tracks. The easy track, which is training our learners to use that technology and be servants to that technology, or the difficult one, which is elevating the level of education through education to compete with the technology and specifically artificial intelligence. In the future, education will no longer focus solely on the academic knowledge. Instead, there will be a greater emphasis placed on teaching creativity and soft skills that are essential for success in the digital age. This includes communication, collaboration, problem solving, critical thinking, as resilience and emotional intelligence. So the question here, are we ready for this advanced technology? I don't think so. Because we think and function at slower pace at which technology is evolving. It goes faster, especially the digital ones. So there is a mismatch. However, I'm still positive about it because throughout all these days, we created advanced technology and later we mastered it. This transformation in the way we teach and learn has led the educational institutions to redesign and repurpose their curricula to boost educators' intelligence and to equip us with the updated education to prepare us for the new era. As the set of skills, we need to stay competitive in the future of work and be engaged as global citizens to evolve and grow. Curricula need to be flexible. Educators as well as learners shouldn't hesitate to always learn new skills. We should be always open and ready to learn. We need to discover. We have to remove all the barriers for education and should work hard to make sure that education is available to all and it is relevant, practical, and of high quality as well. We need to redesign teaching and learning materials to protect courses from heavy artificial intelligence infiltration. This may require courses that include more real-world prompts and application topics that empower students to produce work that reflects the environment around them. But at the growing rate of artificial intelligence, they will either spend time preparing for the mess or clearing it up. We have witnessed the beginning of technology and how it developed. I remember when we wanted to connect to the internet, the modem used to make all these sounds to connect and to get the internet ready, and I remember the first time we used the search engines, how slow it used to be, and etc. And how it transformed. The fast technology transformed our teaching and learning as well. So artificial intelligence is here to stay, remember, but it's time to shape it. So educators should provide career guidance to their learners in order to help them choose right occupations in the future and to prepare for these occupations and careers and the progress in them as well. It's very important to help our learners to make right decisions and the choices involved in planning a future and building careers. So educators have to, 1, help learners to discover their abilities and the skills to feed them into consideration into general requirements of careers under consideration. 2, help the learners to think critically and learn techniques for analyzing information about careers. 3, assist the learners to develop an attitude towards any type of careers. 4, prepare them to be good decision makers. Teach them to keep career ethics, using artificial intelligence in education to tackle some of the big educational challenges, educating people about artificial intelligence so that they use it safely and effectively. And the last one here, changing education so that we focus on a human intelligence and prepare students for an artificial intelligence world. So educators in the future should challenge the new era of technology and make it serve education and not the opposite. We have to be hopeful and optimistic for the future, because if we receive the appropriate education, we truly can do that. We are now in the early stages of another industrial revolution. It's happening all around us, and robots taking, as I said previously, over human jobs. And they are so many. But we are not about to automate education. We shouldn't allow robots to take our role as educators. Thanks God for that, because education is social. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't be disrupted. It's just that we won't replace educators with technology, at least if we get it right. With the quality education, we get that we are more resilient and better equipped to deal with the challenges. So we need to develop certain types of our intelligence that artificial intelligence doesn't have, cannot do. Interdisciplinary academic intelligence, because many of problems we face today need to be interdisciplinary approach. Second, we have to develop our social intelligence that the machine and the robot cannot do. We are social humans. We are, very unique about that. We have to work on the meta-intelligence, knowing that understanding the nature of knowledge. Most people don't understand the meaning of knowledge, which is very important. Okay, let's say, imagine like a car, has the GPS system. Yes, the GPS system guides us to go through a certain path or way or road, but it doesn't have the knowledge, the critical thinking to know if there is a dick in this, a hole in this road, and the car has to sway. If there is fog as well and cannot see, the GPS doesn't take the right decision to use another road. So here they are programmed, but we have got the critical thinking and the brain to analyze and take the right decision at the right time. Metacognitive, understanding when we are distracted and focusing. Metasubjective relates to social and emotional intelligence as well. Metacontextual, it's hard to understand context or environment. We can make sense of new circumstances as well. Perceived self-efficacy, understanding what goals we should be setting and how to achieve them. Dear all, what guarantees a secure future is our education, then education, then education. Thank you all and good luck.
Thank you, Professor, for sharing your valuable insights. So our next presentation is titled Multi-Sectoral Perspectives for Digital Resilience and Literacy in Lithuania. The authors are Patricija Lenčiauskienė, a PhD student at Vytautas Magnus University, and Rimgailė Kasparaitė, a junior researcher at the Baltic Research Foundations for Digital Resilience and Baltic Engagement Center for Combating Information Disorders, both from Lithuania. Patricija, Rimgailė, the floor is yours.
On October 10, 2022, Josep Borrell, the EU's High Representative, addressed 135 European Union ambassadors at the opening of the EU Ambassadors Annual Conference by saying that this world of radical uncertainty, the speed and scope of change is exceptional. We should not try to deny it. We should not try to resist it. It would be a futile effort. We have to accept it and to adapt to it, prioritizing flexibility and resilience. Indeed, we do live in the world of uncertainty powered by information acceleration, surveillance capitalism, algorithmic inequalities, and technological challenges. Issues such as information disorders and online security are considered as wicked problems since they are socially complex, unpredictable, and more importantly, these challenges exhibit a lack of straightforward solution and have a history of failed policy attempts to address them. On the other hand, it could be argued that these crises constitute an opportunity to see new areas for strengthening the sustainability of democracy. Me and my colleague Patricia are from Vytautas Magnus University, Faculty of Political Science and Diplomacy, and we are very delighted to be here today virtually at SMK, University of Applied Sciences, and we are here today to explore multi-sectoral perspectives for digital resilience and literacy in Lithuania. Just to give you an outline of our presentation, we will provide a brief description of our research problem, aims, and objectives. Based on this, I will focus on breaking down the silos, achieving digital resilience through collaborative efforts. And my colleague Patricia will address media literacy in action as a collaborative effort. So moving on to our research problem. So when you go to do research in the field of disinformation, each day you come across very disturbing numbers. And the latest ones come from the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which reveals that Bard, Google's new AI chatbot, generates misinformation on 78 out of 100 false and harmful narratives on a variety of topics such as COVID-19, Russia's invasion to Ukraine, without providing any disclaimers. So even more deeply concerning statistics come from the Reuters Institute of Journalism, which reveals that trust in both institutions, especially in journalistic institutions, has been relatively low in almost half of the surveyed countries. If we move forward, it is evident that disinformation is a wicked problem and it is here to stay. However, the main question is, what is our next step? There is plethora of research on disinformation as well as monitoring capacities and knowledge, yet all the institutions and organizations related to digital resilience seem to be working in silos. And what you can see here is our research done about the stakeholders that work in digital resilience field. So when trying to find out what has been done and is currently underway related to digital resilience, media literacy, disinformation monitoring, we came across the fact that there is high fragmentation among different stakeholders. And even though, as you can see, macro level institutions like government or international organizations should set strategic goals, and very often they do, in fact, when it comes to the meso level and the implementation of these goals, when it comes to schools, libraries, non-governmental organizations, there is very little accountability and communication between those two levels, which immediately evolves into fragmentation. So for effective civic agency to exist, there is a need for co-creation and collaboration. So moving on, we rest our analysis on the collaborative governance regime scheme. So we thought, okay, so there is the issue that we don't have a long-term strategy. The stakeholders do not communicate between each other. So we need to bring them together at one table and to collaborate, to think of that long-term strategy. But collaboration doesn't happen out of the blue. There are many things that you have to consider before collaborating, especially on the issues such as disinformation. So if Patricia can go to another slide. This collaborative governance regime comes from the public administration field, and it is understudied in communication sciences. In this model, you can clearly see that there are three main drivers for collaboration. So when different stakeholders come together, journalists, experts, academics, politicians, they need to bear in mind these drivers for successful collaboration. So we dissected them one by one. And if I would go and explain you all, it would take us more than 15 minutes. So I will stay on the most fundamental ones. So the grounding principle of trust and mutual understanding. So when you try to collaborate, understanding other people's interests, needs, values, and even limits requires participants to see beyond their own personal or institutional frames of reference and viewpoints. Mutual comprehension creates a sense of social approval and cognitive legitimacy. Collaboration is justified and encouraged when it is confirmed that those involved in the group effort are reliable and credible, with compatible and interdependent interests. So it is not only the fact that inclusion is not simply a case of the more the better, inclusion is an active and strategic process. So now my colleague Patricia will tell you how this actually works in action.
Yes, so one of the most important thing is while we're talking about digital resilience is, of course, literacy. So it's very important to understand that the technology bringing affects all stakeholders, and it efforts new approaches to education because the global world becomes even much more complex. So according to European Commission, we could see that information age has not increased our level of knowledge. It's because we often seek information that confirms our existing beliefs, and because information or disinformation travels so quickly. So the gaps between information source and media and information consumers becomes very intensive and huge. So while we are talking about digital resilience in Lithuania, it's very important to understand the context, the global context, why it is important. So as example, we provided the young generation because according to UNICEF, they are the most active internet users, and it highlights the importance of understanding the digital experience of young people. So in all this international data, you can see a concerning trends among young people and their ability to identify news and advertisement on websites. For example, they believe that they have enough knowledge to detect disinformation, but they are really struggle to do so in practice. So because young people are the most active internet consumers and internet and technology consumers, which means that they are exposed with the multiple information sources and media content on daily basis. So at the same time, they are also one of the most vulnerable groups of our society. So they may not yet have a critical thinking skills and literacy knowledge needed to evaluate the credibility of information they encounter online. So also to be digital resilience, these policy documents highlights the importance of developing these digital skills and competence for all people, including the ability to use information and data, create digital content, and to ensure online safety and well-being. So by investigating in all spheres of literacy and digital skills development, we can empower individuals and communities to navigate in the complex digital landscape with such a confidence and resilience. So this international data, it's Audiovisual Media Service Directive, Better Internet for Kids. They just illustrate that this digital resilience aspect is very important in a global level. So it's very important that media literacy is not like it's not like a very popular and just words. It has a very, very deep meaning because it's approach to our education, and it just encourage us to learn to raise the right question about the world around us. So of course, we also provided some examples as because we are represented multi-stakeholder aspects. So for example, multi-stakeholder network and association DGRES. see its role as applying scientific knowledge and innovation in media work and digital resilience training for all people. So, for example, in this slide, you could see that we organized training for high school students. Also, they are providing some seminars for teachers, which attracted more than 160 participants. So just during the first year of existence, DGRES organized trainings for more than 70 representatives and specialists and more than 100 communication students and 550 high school students on many other activities. So if we want to achieve digital resilience in Lithuania and in a global level, so the media, digital information, and all spheres of literacy is very important because it's our capacity for critical thinking. So the ability to identify truths from manipulations and lies in era of artificial intelligence, while we just no longer know who is providing us with information, it's intellectuals or manipulators. So we also have access to quality and valuable information produced by journalists and specialists. So we have a fundamental right, all of us, to receive truth. And it is the task for all institutions and professions working with such data to provide quality information and just to educate the public.
Yes, so as one of the organizations have stated from the interviews that we have completed on what is collaboration and why collaboration matters, because different stakeholders such as journalists, media literacy experts, as Patricia has mentioned, they come from very different fields and they come with very different aims, right? So we need to understand that yes, we do live in the age of collaboration, as one of our interviewees have mentioned. However, this sounds like a great ambition rather than a current reality as we explore it in Lithuania. Collaboration takes time, effort, and different variables to be considered. However, we are on the right path with the initiatives that have been recently mentioned by Patricia. And to our end, we would also like to give you an example from nature, because when such conflicting issues come across, there is no better way but to look at the nature. So we looked at the example of actually ants, which you can see in the picture. So working with tens of thousands or even millions of colony members, fire ants can huddle into a raft, survive in the flood. Ants can build bridges to let their colony members pass across. By contrast, chimpanzees, which our closest ape cousin, can only boast about sloppy beds for spending the night, stone tools for cracking nuts, or plant stems for fishing termites. And this clearly shows that intelligence apparently is overrated. And the answer lies in the large-scale collaboration, where the collective diligence, six-legged critters can yield swarm intelligence to achieve goals that no single individual can contend. So these examples illustrate the potential power of large-scale collaboration. So in order to solve the issue of disinformation, and it's a must to have a long-term strategy, which would not only be sustainable, but involve collaboration across different sectors. So we thank you very much, and you can access our presentation in full here by using this QR code on Medium. And we are happy to contact you and collaborate on the further matters if you wish. So thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Rimgaile. Now I'd like to invite Magdalena Szuflita-Żurawska, the head of Scientific and Technical Information Services at Gdańsk University of Technology in Poland. Her presentation is titled Achieving Scientific and Information Skills at the Master Level: How to Motivate Students to Enhance Their Scientific Competencies. Mrs. Magdalena, welcome to the virtual stage.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you very much for the invitation. And my apologies because I know that I supposed to present it a little bit earlier, but I completely forgot about changing the time. So once again, it was really nice to have presentation today. And my name is Magdalena Szuflita-Żurawska, and I'm head of the Scientific and Technical Information Services in Poland, in Gdańsk, and also I'm the head of the Open Science Competency Center. And I also, I'm a grantee of the National Science Foundation Poland, and I'm doing my research about motivation and increasing scientific excellence, scientific productivity, and also how to motivate students, PhD students and researchers to increase scientific excellence in the academic environment. So what the scientific excellence means? So first of all, the term is very, very broad and is really frequently used. And this term excellence is like everywhere. You can seeking for the excellence at home. You can seeking for the excellence in your work, and also you can seeking for the excellence in the science. So how to achieve this excellence is you need to have certain elements, certain needs, a set of different skills, and also what is really, really important, you need to have adequate resources. So this excellence might be connected to different part of your academic study, different part of your academic work. You can connect it with your particular research, with your perspective of your study, with your team, publications, of course, or quality and partnerships. So what's the information skills? What's the scientific skills? To get good, to be good researchers, to be good students, you need to have a mix of technical and soft skills. And soft skills, we are talking about soft skills when we think about for example, about creativity, about collaboration and teamwork. You need to be a good team player. You also think you can think about adaptability, problem solving, or critical thinking. If you are talking about technical skills, they are really, really much depend on the specialization you study or you're doing your research. So we will be looking for different technical skills if you are represent the social science, or for example, if you are represent the biology or chemistry. Some of the examples actually, which might be quite common in the many disciplines, they are something like analytical skills, data management and analysis, also draw conclusions when observing different phenomena. However, if you are more technical oriented in discipline, you need also such very good skills in technical writings or programming and design. And how we motivate students, how authorities and management can motivate students and researchers to achieve and develop their skills. We can explain it as a theoretical framework. We can explain it, for example, by using one of the motivations theory. And in my research, I decided to use self-determination theory by Ryan and Deci. So self-determination theory is very broad theory, but part of this is they talk about that to enhance your interest, to increase your performance and resilience in learning, you need to satisfy 3 basic psychological needs, which has every human. So these 3 basic psychological needs are competency, autonomy, and relatedness. And autonomy usually reflects the need to feel that one has valuation over which tasks and activities you need to perform. Competency reflects the need to feel that one is doing well at a given task or activity. You need to have this commitment, and you need to have this effectiveness in the task we are doing. And relatedness usually reflects the need to feel a sense of connection to what you are doing. And it might be associated with the relationships you have with your colleagues. So, for example, about relatedness in the academic environment, we are talking when you have good collaboration, if you are working in the scientific teams. About autonomy, we are talking about if you, for example, you are able to decide what kind of study, what kind of research do you want to perform, what kind of methodology you would like to use during your study. And about competency, we are talking if you have good scientific, technical information and social skills. So in my study, we explore different incentives which are good for students and researchers in the terms of increasing their productivity and developing their information skills. We decided to divide those features into the 4 terms or 4 groups of incentives. And the first theme we called organizational, the second we call financial, the third we called social, and the fourth we called mental. So here on the slides, I hope you can see it clearly. You can see some examples of the features which we were indicated by students and researchers, because those features they are taken from the interviews which I performed last few months or a couple of years. So let me go through these items. So, for example, organizational incentives, which might have influence of achieving scientific and developing information skills, might be like a flexible organizational structure, administrative support, or simply equipment, software, and tools which you are using during your study and research. Financial team in terms of the developing your skills and excellence, it might be funding for APC when we are talking about open access publication, proofreading if you are not native speaker, for example, in English. But also it might be something like scholarships for students, conferences or trainings fee. At my university also is associated with the rewards for publications. So the best publications, they also get the financial rewards. The social incentives might be the openness of your organization, for example, to the interdisciplinary research, human resources practices, and scientific culture and ethics. The social incentives is also very important, the collaboration and team working. And the mental is the most subjective incentives, because it strongly depends on your attitude or your human being. However, still the mental incentives which can be part of the developing your skills is also the openness for the exchange of ideas. Monetary esteem is very important. Curiosity, of course, but sometimes also the rivalry. If you have the rivals in your team, in your collaboration, it makes you sometimes working most harder. Of course, we identified also some barriers in achieving scientific excellence, and we also organized them in the 4 themes, the same like incentives. So sometimes the organizational barriers which were indicated by our respondents were associated with a teaching overload, a bureaucratic red tape, or work organization. Financial, low salary, low scholarships, high conference fees, which you, for example, can't afford to attend, and high APC for publication in open access. Also, it was mentioned several times that to do a very emerging and challenging research, you need money. So the cost of conducting research, it might be also a barrier. Social is usually associated with the lack of collaboration, low scientific culture. However, also it was indicated that lack of knowledge of scholarly communication practices, it also might be a barrier. And the mental. Usually when we are talking about barriers in achieving scientific excellence, the most common one was the mental attitude to coping with defeat. For example, if your publication or if your grant or if your project will go to the major revision and then it's still getting rejection. Sometimes people, sometimes scholars, students, researchers, they are very, very they can't cope with this defeat. Also, the mental barrier might be low scientific skills or lack of individual recognition among academic environment. And what is now really, really important, difficulties in work-life balance. So how we can improve, what we can do more to help you to developing your skills and your technical and your soft skills. First of all, facilitation of the incentives is they are usually more motivated for the university authorities than academic system of penalties. Then the authorities are strongly focused on achieving different organization goals and optimize motivation incentives, but they are also need to focus on regarding them into the external factors, which means that, for example, when the academic law is changing, or different regulation, for example, in copyright law, they are changing, then it might be the authorities, they need to adopt the regulations, adopt the support, adopt the resources to the current situation. Too few extrinsic rewards may be recognized as students and researchers are not very well appreciated. So on the other hand, authorities, they have to also be careful, because too many intrinsic rewards, they might inhibit your intrinsic motivations. So students and researchers who are intrinsically motivated and chase usually scientific effectiveness for challenge, personal satisfaction, academic recognition, and also personal well-being. So what you can do to cope with all those difficulties? First of all, it was really nice to have clear goals. So if you have if you set your goals, like for example you specialize your scientific careers, this can help you to improve your skills as a students or researchers. What else is important is seeking for mentorship. If you have a good supervisor, if your supervisor is good for you, is giving you advices, and the third point, giving you a feedback on what you are doing, that is very, very plus, and you easily can develop your career, your skills, and your excellence. And the fourth one, which are very important, is continuous improvement. In science environment, you have to always seeking for the improvements. You have to try to find new ways to maximize and develop your effectiveness, and you have to cope with the changing in the academic environment. So, for example, different changes in the scholarly communication, different tools, different portals, different academic social networks, different terms such developing open science, like research data management. You still have to cope with the news and be open to the new possibilities and challenges. So that's it for today from me. Here you have my email and my scientific profile. So if you will have any questions, or if you would like to have a chat with me, just simply email me, and we can talk about motivations, open science, and also scholarly communication. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your research results and insights. Now I have the pleasure of inviting Ąžuolas Urbonas, a B2B Academy coordinator at Teltonika Telematics from Lithuania. His topic is Shaping the Future of IoT. Ąžuolas, we are eagerly awaiting for your presentation.
Good day to you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Angelos. I'm B2B Academy Coordinator at Teltonika Telematics. And I will give you a better understanding of who we are, what we do for the last 24 years, and why the future looks bright from the perspective of the Internet of Things side here in Lithuania. I will start with a brief overview of the company. Teltonika Telematics is a part of Teltonika IoT Group, which consists of 5 different business lines that have been transformed into 5 standalone companies. These are Teltonika Telematics, world-leading fleet management devices, Teltonika Networks, professional networking equipment with cellular connectivity, Teltonika EMS, electronics manufacturing services and original design manufacturer, Teltonika Telemedic, telecare, health, safety, and protection solutions for lone workers and elderly people. And the latest one, Teltonika Energy, innovative electric vehicle charging solutions. To see the scope of the company, let's see how we are spread around the world. We have offices in 20 countries now, and more are coming soon. It would not be possible without the continuous support of our customers. As our client base grows, we set up offices in new countries, making it easier to work with clients in that region. That said, Teltonika is closer to clients worldwide than ever. A synergetic work method is a prior in Teltonika's life, which means collaboration between clients and R&D makes us one of the leading manufacturers in the market. Starting with clients when we first receive an idea of the product, and finishing it with research and development department, which makes the ideas come true. Not forgetting our operational marketing department, which constantly follows the market trends and tries to be as close to our clients as possible. Nevertheless, let's look at R&D department closely. 200 professionals working in 5 different R&D divisions across Teltonika IoT Group have been developing IoT solutions for 24 years. They also maintain close collaboration with a team of project managers. From idea to finished product sample, our R&D department develops innovative market-leading productions in a flexible approach manner and through constant process improvements. Main strength lays in a community which is located in the same place. None of the parts are being outsourced, neither used from the third parties. Everything is created and launched in the same place, which ensures products and solutions to be high quality and delivered on time, as well as making us reliable and trustable partner to our customers. The greatest power that keeps Teltonika Telematics relentlessly moving forward is our client and long-term business partners. By creating professional relationships, mutual understanding, and trust, the technical support team strives to bring high-quality customer services, product management, quality assurance, testing, training, and support. The team is doing its best to be closer to our customers and ensure professional assistance matching the desired outcome. Over 400 online meetings a year, a certified clients training program, and a team over 90 IoT solutions engineers over the world, creating a highly skilled international Teltonika Telematics community. Teltonika is fully dedicated to maintaining high quality standards. Quality is something you must have, and it's unquestionable if you want to stay in the market. We do not compromise on quality. Every device has to pass 5 stages of quality inspection, which means that 100 of our products are tested before they are delivered to our customers worldwide. We run all production and operations in Lithuania and proudly offer unquestionable product quality and reliability, exceeding our expectations. Our factories are ISO certified to fulfill any relevant requirements. As you already guessed, Teltonika is constantly thinking about the future. Whether it's a new product to solve the customer's problem or a new office to be closer to the customer, we are trying to meet new challenges and achieve our goals. But before we talk about the future, I would like to introduce you to the past, which is inseparable from Teltonika. Our story of Teltonika starts in 1998. So, as you can see, we are not a new company in the market. If you are wondering what Teltonika name means, It's a combination of two words, telephone and tone. I'm not sure if anyone watching remembers one of the first corded telephones. Although I was still young, I remember when the phone rang, it seemed like a miracle because there was something special about the communicating with another person in a distance. But there was also a problem. We couldn't know who was calling. So the founder's first product was able to show the caller's number on a small screen. Project was implemented into Lithuanian Police Department, and this is how our journey have been started. Further, we made different devices, like telephones, CCTV cameras. We were trying different products to see how the market evolves in these kind of products. After seeing the benefits provided by wireless connection, our founder realized that it was going to be our future, and we should develop such solutions that would serve people. Then the vision to connect things was outlined. After many ups and downs, Teltonika has survived, and we have launched more and more products as our customer base has grown. One thing was clear: the future is inseparable from machine-to-machine collaboration. If you didn't hear about machine-to-machine, it's a communication used for automated data transmission and measurement between mechanical or electrical devices. Nowadays, many of the devices have communicating with each other without us even knowing it. There is even a separate network, 4G LTE Cat M1, which is designed for small data streams that are sent from one device to another without the human interaction. Machine-to-machine communication can include industrial instrumentation, enabling a sensor or a meter to communicate the information it records to application software that can use it. These devices are complex in structure with the number of components ranging from tens to thousands or more. Let's take a look inside the device. This is one of our telematics solutions whose job is to send location data, various parameters about the vehicle and the cargo. Opening the device allows you to see the components, connect the battery, insert the SIM card, and etc. But we can identify one key component that performs many more functions than others. You may have noticed a large component. This is the main module responsible for communicating with the outside world. And we have a bit of history related to these modules. Back in 2004, Teltonika discovered Nokia N12 modems, which opened the way to machine-to-machine technology. This is how the first Teltonika telematics product was born. As technology improved, we had to find new solutions, more tailored to our IoT products. In 2009, we started working with Intel, who at the time had some of the most advanced core modules on the market. In 2014, we had to find a new supplier, and we found one in Taiwan. We started working with MediaTek, which at the time saw us as a very small customer. Today, we are the biggest customer in Europe. So why am I talking about the core module? It's the main component of the installation that performs the most functions. Thanks to it, we can receive data from satellites to determine the location. We can communicate with the server via GSM connection, and we can configure the device or connect wireless sensors via Bluetooth interface. As this component is important for M2M machines, you can probably assume that there are many companies that manufacture them. But the situation is a bit more complex. As all modules have semiconductors inside, this is a very tight market. The semiconductor field is dominated by a handful of countries. The field is growing and expanding rapidly. So, top 5 countries that produce the most semiconductors are Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, United States, and China. Taiwan is home to many state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities, some of which can produce semiconductors that cannot be manufactured anywhere in the world. On the downside, Taiwan's notable success also means that if something goes wrong with semiconductor manufacturing in Taiwan, the entire world feels the impact. In early 2023, we surprised Lithuania by signing an agreement with Taiwan. The agreement entitles Teltonika to obtain licenses for semiconductor chip manufacturing technologies and devices developed by Industrial Technology Research Institute. It also ensures that the company group will get assistance in preparing detailed plans and engineering training for the employees. This step has been consistently pursued, and our staff has been in Industrial Technology Research Institute traineeships for 7 years. So what do we want to achieve? We want to bring the semiconductor industry to Lithuania. We have a vision that this can be achieved and bring great benefits to the country, not only by creating workplaces, but also by creating new specialities that have not existed in Lithuania before. And in the near future, exports could reach up to 10 billion or 5% of country's GPD. We will achieve this in several stages. We will start with the semiconductor chip development labs. Semiconductor chip assembly plant needs to be built. Gather silicon and sand refining for microchip production. And only then semiconductor chip factory will take place here in Lithuania. After analyzing the market well, we decided to create niche semiconductor technologies that will be applied in renewable energy, electric cars, or other industrial power module solutions. We won't make all semiconductors ourselves, but making certain components will be a major achievement. The production of the semiconductor chips will be our biggest goal in the upcoming years. Much has to be done, but this is only a part of the goals we have set ourselves. Some time ago, it was just an idea, but with the right amount of work and effort, these plans are transferring into reality. Follow us on social media as we have other plans in our list of new projects. I will end with a quote: "The best way to predict the future is to create one." Abraham Lincoln. You are the people who will build the future. So I wish you to remain inquisitive, creative, and show us what the future can bring. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you for your contribution. Next, let me introduce Gabija Skučaitė, a PhD student at ISM University in Lithuania. Gabija is also a founder and a chancellor of SMK University of Applied Sciences. Gabija will present the topic, Meaning Making as a Path of Resilience, Overcoming Many Challenges in Organizational Context. Gabija, the floor is yours. While Gabi is preparing her speech, I would like to say something. We are running short of time. I want to express my gratitude to all the presenters for making the conference start on such a high note. I will invite you after the Gabi speech to join the preferred conference panels on Zoom. The sessions will begin at 10:45 a.m. except the aviation management panel section that will start at 3 p.m. I would like to emphasize that there is only one Zoom link available for all the separate sections. Once you click on the link in the video description below, you will need to choose a specific room to enter your chosen session. The rooms are created based on session names. So starting from education, the first one, second, creative communication, tourism and creative industry, social welfare, logistics and law, marketing, and user behavior. Aviation management will be 7, which will start at 3 p.m. as I mentioned before. Health and quality of life would be 8, and the last one would be sustainable business solutions, technologies, and globalization. Thank you once again, and I believe that Gabi should be ready.
Okay, hello. Hello. I hope you can see me and hear me. And sorry for some delays with the presentation. So we experienced some technical difficulties with the slide share. So that's why I will ask assistant from the studio at SMK to help me with sharing the slides because I cannot manage to share them from my laptop. So that was the difficulties. And I know that we are lack of time and almost my presentation should be finished in the scope of the program So in the topic which I want to cover today, it's a quite broad. It's about meaning making as a path to resilience, which could help to overcome many challenges in organizational context. So which is quite broad and very conceptual topic. And to cover it in a few minutes, it's a like terrific challenge for me. So I need to do it in a very short and understandable way. So I will try my best just to mention some of the main aspects which I'm discovering as a researcher in my PhD studies, and also reflecting on the newest challenges we are all facing as a society, as humans, in today's a very hyper intensive and hyper turbulated world, which is described as a context for this conference. So firstly, let me talk a little bit about this context and why it is so important to discuss it today, and what does it mean for us as humans, and especially in my research area, it means as humans in organizational contexts. So let's go to the next slide and let's discuss broadly this world described as brittle, anxious, nonlinear, and incomprehensible. So what does it mean? And, you know, all this context could seem very dramatic and like leading to the tragedy of the humans, which was like a little bit discussed in the previous sections and in previous discussions. But I would say I feel very optimistic about the future. And I believe this is a wonderful world where we will have quite a lot of winners and maybe even bigger proportion of losers who will not deal with those uncertain situations we are facing. But there is a very good side of this future, because now there is a time when we need to focus on more meaningfulness, or on more meaningful life, on more meaningful jobs, on the concept of the meaning. And nevertheless, robots and AI and technologies are taking over the jobs, the work market, maybe some of the functions we are doing as humans. But there is a very, very bright silver lining in this. We could live much more meaningful lives. We could work in much more meaningful environments. We could create much more meaning in this world full of challenges we must to overcome. And we need not to lose this battle, if we could say, with the computers and robots and artificial intelligence. So that's what we as humans must do. And my topic here is organizational developments, organizational studies, and I want to make some assumptions about how meaning making is a pathway to overcome these challenges, and why meaning as a concept, as a cognitive construct is so essential in today's world. Of course, meaning is an essential strive, an essential purpose-driven concept for each human. Everybody wants to live meaningful life, but why we lose meaning? And probably there's a problem with understanding what meaning is. So let's go to the next slide and try to cover what meaning making is. Just very generally, let's say that meaning making is the process through which individuals or organizations interpret and make sense of their experience, challenges, and goals. And by fostering a sense of purpose and understanding, meaning making can significantly contribute to resilience when we face adversity, when we face challenges, when we face uncertainty. And meaning making can enable humans as well as organizations to adapt, to learn, to grow, to evolve in the best way they can. So when we talk about the perception of what meaning is, we face different paradigms, and this could be difficult to comprehend, but also this understanding of what meaning is also leads us to some misinterpretations, and also to some discussions and debates about the meaningfulness and meaningless, and about the concept of the meaning. So I would like very shortly to cover those three main perspectives of meaning. So first one, let's go to the next slide, would be perspective on meaning in the field of humanities, where meaning is primarily understood in the context of interpretation of language, culture, and human experience. And in the humanities, we could generally say that meaning is searched to be more objective. In meaning in humanities spreads in the construction of meanings in various contexts. It's always contextual, socialized. We could say that in the humanities, meaning is a kind of like search for the objective truth. Otherwise, we go to the next slide, and we could look at the perspective of the meaning in the science of psychology, which definitely became very dominant in the recent age, and because probably of the more psychological problems and some kind of like a epidemic of the psycho diseases, and that's why we need more psychological perspective on the meaning. But in psychology, the concept of meaning is always associated with some personal perceptions or personal well-being, motivation. So we could say that in psychological perspective, the perception of meaning will be always subjective. And there are some main theories in the psychological science, like self-determination theory, cognitive appraisal theory. Also, it could be mentioned that the big rise of phenomenology in this field, but always in this aspect, meaning will be very subjective. It means we understand the meaning from the perspective, how do we feel? How we feel this is relevant, how we feel this is important. So from the psychological perspective, which could not be avoided because we all human, we all give sense to what we feel, to what we understand. So taking psychological perspective at organizational context, we understand that people always have their own perceptions about how they feel, about what they think things are, but mostly this is not a shared understanding of meaning. This is a very individual and very subjective thing. But in organizations, we need to take into account this psychological perspective. And there's a lot of researches going on and a lot of techniques and different attitudes to change meaning or like to construct meaning for the individuals. And that's what organizations are doing, with a lot of motivational theories arise and motivational tools which aim to change the perception of meaning at individual level. And let's go to the first slide and just cover how meaning is perceived in organizational studies. And in the context of management and organizational studies, meaning often refers to the sense of purpose, direction, and significance that individuals and groups derive from their work and relationships within an organization. And there are different key concepts about this, one of which I'm very keen on is sense-making perspective by Wake, which gives the understanding of meaning making as a process by which individuals and organizations interpret, understand, and respond to complex and ambiguous situations, constructing meaning retrospectively from their experience and actions. So it means to catch the meaning in the sense-making sense, you need to reflect of what you have done, and then to catch that part of meaning at the time you analyzing on and reflecting what was done, and in the organizational context, it means not only futuristic orientation on the planning is mostly reflecting on who we were, where we are, and how this process of evoluting really led to us with different challenges and mistakes, and how we managed to overcome them. So by understanding these different perspectives on meaning, we can see that the concept of meaning, firstly, is very multidimensional and context dependent. And although these perspectives may differ in their focus, they all underscore the crucial role of meaning making in the human life, whatever is in the context of individual experience, societal constructs, or organizational settings. So generally, we could say, and I would like to emphasize this, that there is a significant role of meaning making in overcoming these challenges now we have faced as a society and humanity and organizations. So going to the next slide, I would like to say a few words just generally about how meaning making can help us to overcome these challenges. So firstly, understanding the meaning give us sense of purpose. Definitely meaning making helps organizations to maintain a clear vision, a sense of direction, provides motivation and guidance when we're faced with challenges. It means you face challenge, you understand that this world which is rapidly changing, rapidly evolving, but if you understand that there is a meaning in all of this, and then if you have a sense of purpose, there is definitely, you can see a lot of opportunities how to deal with every situation. Also, meaning making is a process of adaptability. By understanding the underlying meaning of challenges, organization can develop a very creative solutions and adapt their strategies to overcome them. And when we create a meaningful environment, when we really give a shared sense of meaning in organization, this is a great tool for employee motivation. It gives a strong sense of meaning, which could inspire employees to remain engaged and committed even during those difficult, unpredictable times. So even when we face the maybe some discrepancies in the challenges, understanding that there's a purpose behind this, that we have the solid values we have based on, so there is definitely the meaning making which solves the problems, which give us direction. So as we move forward in an increasingly uncertain world, organizations should embrace meaning making as this vital tool to foster resilience, overcome many challenges, and achieve sustainable successes for the future. And going to the next slide, I would like to emphasize that embracing meaning making for the resilience means, firstly, to understand meaning making across different disciplines. So understand that meaning making is not only a psychological process, or meaning making is not only subjective perception of what meaning is. It means that at organizational level, we need to strive to create shared meaning, shared understanding about the processes. Of course, respecting individual subjectivities, but also creating a sense of meaning for all. The second thing, what is important, is to implement strategies for organizational meaning making. One of them I just mentioned is a sense making perspective, and looking back at what we have achieved and learning from the past, not learning to the future, looking into the future, but learning from the past, and also align these strategies with organizational values and goals. So we need to root our meaning making into some fundamental things which will remain very significant and important, especially in this changing world. So values, goals, missions, philosophy of the organization are those roots which needs to be very fundamentally incorporated into the whole organizational setting to survive for each organization. So it means we need to keep on the traditions in this very changing world. And if we have some steady lines and be consistent with who we are, we definitely can solve all the challenges. And then the last thing I want to say, that we need to leverage the power of meaning making, and it will help us to overcome challenges, to foster resilience, and to create this very bright path moving forward in this wonderful world of changes. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a good luck in this conference. Embrace everything what will be said, comprehend on this, and after the time will pass, try to reflect on what you have achieved after what you heard what was said. So good luck.
Thank you, Gabia, for sharing your brilliant ideas regarding challenges in modern organizations. As I mentioned before, I would like to mention it again, that the sessions will begin shortly at 10:45 a.m., except aviation management panel section, it will start at 3 p.m. So thank you once again, and I hope you will gain wealth of great ideas and inspiration from this conference. So thank you again, and bye-bye.
And thank you, panelists.